Alright guys, in today's video we're working on this 2000 Camry CE, and the problem we've got is two problems, right? The outside door handle isn't opening the door anymore. That's probably due to the internal handle having broke, but also the inside door handle is not opening the door without a lot of force. So if we come over here and look down, we're pulling this door handle to the full extent of its travel, and the door's still not opening. We actually have to hold this to the full extent of its travel, and we have to kind of hit it. And so the problem there is that the latch is also worn out. So we got two parts to replace on this. I'm going to break them up into two videos. Let's go confirm that diagnosis though before we jump into it. I'm going to lower the window all the way, and we're going to snake a camera down inside the door, and we're going to confirm the obvious diagnosis. Alright, so guys, we've snaked a camera down in between the glass and the door frame so that we can see what's going on with the latch. And then right on this area here, if we zoom in and I pull on the inside door handle, you can see that part right there is moving. We pull this door handle all the way, and this rod is just moving a hair. And that's because this slot that it travels in is all worn out, which is part of the latch. So once we get inside, we'll be able to confirm this, but it definitely looks like because of that, we're not getting this to actuate enough, and that's, you can see it's just moving maybe just a few millimeters, and that's not enough for it to open on its own. Alright guys, in order to get access, we got to get this trim panel off the door. There's a variety of fasteners. I'll show you. We'll start on the right hand side and we'll sweep to the left. So the first thing is this little piece here. There's a kind of a push prong pin at the top, and then it just comes out from the bottom, right? So this guy fits in there. Next is this little round cover here. I don't know if this trim tools, yeah, he's going to be able to get in there. We're going to pull this off so that we can get access to the fastener that's underneath. So it just kind of friction fits in there, and it covers up this little guy here. Now most of these are probably GIS type bits, Japanese Industrial Standard bits. Let's see if we have the right size for this one. Yes, we do. So we'll take this screw out here. In a pinch, you could use a Phillips as well. So that guy goes there. Then we're going to take off this guy here. There's like a little clip on the front, so wedge it up from the back. And then we'll want to get the power harness piece disconnected. There's a little push pin right here. A release clip. We're going to push that in and pull out the harness. Okay, so that's it for the switch. Next thing we're going to go off and grab is this little piece here. Behind there's a screw that we'll need, and then we'll also have to take this bezel off as well. So we'll take like a very small pry bar, and we'll see if we can get this little door open without damaging it. Nope, we're going to have to use a pick, a straight pick. There we go. So behind this little door, these things are super fragile, by the way. You can see there's another screw right there that we got to get, another GIS screw. But before we do that, we're going to come in here with this tool. And actually, you know what? I'll take that back. We're going to go ahead and take this guy out first, and then we'll unsnap him. Now I'll do what I was about to do. Come in here and we'll unsnap this guy. There's just a little retaining clip there and there. Okay. I'm just going super gentle with this because I don't want to break anything. Got the top one off, but this bottom one is being stubborn. You can see right there, there's like a, we zoom in, there's like a little peg that goes in to this bezel. And we got to get it to come off in order to remove it. And then there's a little prong clip on the front here. So you got the little door that's fragile, you got the little prong that's fragile, and then you got these two pieces sit on side little nubs on the handle. So this is off. Now the next one on this is right down underneath here. There's a screw here and there's one behind here. Let's go ahead and get this guy first because it's in the camera's view better. So this little plug here pries off. And if we can get that off without damaging anything, that'll reveal another screw behind there. Well, I got to get down here and see. Move this camera out of the way for a moment. It's a really long screw. And I think we've got it, but it's just kind of stuck in there. So I'm going to have to get a magnet to get it out. The other one, I believe, that might be it. There's two more on the very bottom. Here. That guy right there. And see if I can feel for the next one. This guy right here. That guy right there. All right, so we got one more push-in clip on the other side, but I think that's it here. Let me go grab a magnet, fish this guy out, and then we'll go get the pin. All right, so we can fish this guy out here, so you can see he's kind of on the long side. And then when I was down here to see what that was hung up on, I can see there's one more of these right here. I don't know if that one's, I might not have even grabbed him all the way. This one is like at an angle. There we go. All right, same deal. You're going to have to need a little magnet to fish him out. All right, and there's number two. All right, now we're going to go on the side over here. And there's this guy. So for this guy, we're going to take a pick and push in the little middle pin. And then that should allow us to get the outside to come off like that. And that's how that retainer's on. So with that out of the way, assuming we didn't miss anything else, it's been a while since I took one of these off, so I think we're good. Now we should be able to take a plastic trim prying tool, and it's just held on by some push-in retainers. And then you may have some debris come out as this guy lets go. And one of the things you want to look at when you do something like this, that came off way too easy. And so what I'm looking at is down here on our panel, we've got a clip here, we got a clip here, and these can sometimes be red or white from Toyota, but one here, but this one's broke. So one of the things we got to do is replace this broken clip. I'll go ahead and put a part number for that down in the description. All right, so let me get this door panel pulled out of the way, and then we're ready to do the repair. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these 3 GIS screws off and take this metal panel off. Set that down here. All right, the next thing we're going to do is, this is the clip that push pin went into. We're going to remove that, and we're going to make sure that it still has its little nubs on the side. Otherwise, we would need a new one. This one's okay. Next thing we're going to do is, we've got to take this water deflection shield off, and you're going to want to keep this, so be careful as you remove it, because it's going to stick to this butyl tape that you see all along the perimeter. All right, so at this point now, I'm realizing we made a mistake at the beginning. We want to get this window up, so I'm going to put the switch back in, and we're going to raise this window, so we'd have to be able to get our hand in here, guys, so no big deal. It's fine even if you have this same mistake I just made. We just need to raise the window. All right, so that door handle, typically you have like a plastic patch covering this hole. If that's missing, that means somebody's already been in here. And this is so you can access the fasteners that are holding the door handle, the outside door handle, to this door frame. But before we can get to that part, we got to release the 2 rods that attach it to the latch. So if we look up here inside, we can see like some yellow plastic, which is the retainer on one of those rods through that hole. If you guys can see that okay. And then there's one off to the side that you can't see, and I'm going to give you a view with the portable camera for that. So if we switch down here, so that first rod through that hole is right there, and there's that yellow retainer on it. All right, and then the other one we have to release the rod from is right here in the back. So this one is to actuate the latch from the door handle, and this one is the lock that's attached to where you stick the key in. So if you can see the shape of that, we're going to reach back in there and we're going to lift that guy up. And I can't show you that, but I'm going to reach back in there right now and do it. So see that yellow right there? You're going to see it in a different position. I'm going to reach my hand back in there. And I'll unlatch it. And so now if I bring this back, show you guys again, I apologize for the lawnmower in the background. You can see I've got that lifted up now, and you can see the rod still attached. But if I stick my hand in there on that rod, now that retainer's off, and push it, got to see where it is here for myself for a second. All right, right there. There we go. And you can push it out. Right there, right? So we've got that guy pushed out of the little slot that retains him. So that's the first one. So now we got to get this guy up here. So again, you're going to see me reach in, and I'm going to lift that yellow retainer up. And to do that, I'm just going to take our little pry bar tool, and you might even be able to see me doing this one through that hole. Not sure. right, stubborn. But I think he let go just then. Fold him out of the way. And you can see now I've got that retainer lifted off the rod so that we can push the rod out. Now to get the rod pushed out, I'm not going to be able to get the camera in there because we're going to have to pull the door handle up, and then we're going to squeeze that rod out with a pair of long nose pliers. So I'll see if I can get you that right after we finish it. All right, so long nose pair of pliers. You can wrap them with tape if you're concerned about damaging the finish. And you catch one end of the rod on this end, and then you can grab this guy on that frame, and then you can squeeze it out like that. So if you look back in the hole here, you can see I've got this guy disconnected. So at this point, the outside door handle is disconnected from the latch. All right, with those two rods disconnected from the outside handle, next we're going to get these two rods disconnected. Kind of hold on to this rod here and lift up on this white retainer. Come on, baby. There we go. And then with the retainer lifted up, we can pry out that rod, and then we'll do the same thing to this one up here. All right, so those two are done, and then just to kind of give us some more working room, we'll pry the rod out of this retainer up here. Be careful that you don't bend the rod. All right, just want to have it loose like that. The next thing we're going to need to do is this. If you have power door locks, this cable is part of the latch assembly. So we're going to want to disconnect this. And I know you won't be able to see it too well in the video, but this little guy here that you see me, if you zoom in, you see me pushing up and down on him. That's how you disconnect this harness. So you're going to push up on this and remove this backside connector. Right there. Now this piece is not going to come off without getting broken in most cases. If you're super careful, you can stick your hand behind here and you might be able to pinch down on it. You don't need to because it comes with it, but just to show you that it can be done, I'll see if I can do that for you in this particular case. All right, so you can twist these out without busting these little ears off. It is possible to do. All right, with that out of the way, now we're going to switch over to the sides. There's a couple of things we want to do on the sides. Let me get on the other side and we'll reposition the camera. All right, so to get the latch off, we're going to have to remove this 10 millimeter, which is holding the channel. We're going to loosen this 10 millimeter nut, and then we're going to pull these 3 T30s. We're doing this because the channel is going to be in the way. All right. Now I'm going to come around the other side. We should be able to get it out. Okay, so we're going to lift up on this channel right here. I'm going to push this black tab through here. And then at the bottom, for the power door lock solenoid, we're going to disconnect the power harness. There's a little push pin on the other side. And then we're just going to bring this whole latch assembly out. There it is. Now, all of these pieces won't be on the new one. We'll need to transfer, for example, this plastic cover, which is held on by a screw here. And I thought there was more than one, but looks like it's just that and a zip tie right there. So we'll remove this so that we can put this cover on our replacement. But basically, you can see right here, one thing that's wrong is this guy is like super worn. So there's way too much play in him. And it's a shame you can't just replace maybe that one piece, but you cannot do that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we're replacing it with. All right, so what are we replacing this with? We're going to replace this with a Toyota 69304-AA010. This is the part number for the driver's side. In the description, I'll leave the part numbers also for the passenger side. The procedure is very similar. All right, so what do we got here? So what we're going to have to do is transfer some parts to this, right? So we're going to have to transfer our power lock solenoid over, and that's going to mount on this bracket right here. So we're just going to do those one at a time. Make sure we got the right fastener for that, and then I've just got to find what we did with our smaller bit. So give me a moment. We'll come back in just a moment, guys. All right, let's go ahead and pick this up now. All right, so we got two fasteners for this guy. And one on the other side. And this one on this side is also retaining this kind of plastic shield. All right, so there's this guy. Just want to make sure that we take note of how he goes. So this sits inside of this little bushing right here. Okay, so we're going to come up to our new one. We're going to find this same orientation. Okay, so that's like this. So this guy is going to sit right in here. Yep, okay. So let's try to get this guy fastened in so he doesn't move around. This is going into plastic, right? It's already been used once, so we don't want to put any extra stress on it. All right, so there's that. Now this black cover piece, I'm going to go ahead and cut this zip tie from the factory. Okay. And that just slides off and around this rod. And this rod, we're going to have to transfer also. So go ahead and put that guy in. So if we get this guy lined up. So there's a little peg right here that goes into a slot right there. There we go. And then what do we do with that screw? That was this guy. So we'll put this guy back in. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and put a new zip tie. Let's see if our insulation will move down, and it will. So we'll move our insulation down just the way the old one was. Okay, and then we'll run a zip tie here, just like the factory did. Other than ours is going to be black instead of white, zip tie wise. All right, and then the door latch piece. All right, so the door latch piece, actually I took that off earlier. This is going to slide on here. Here we go. It falls right off the old one because those retainers are all worn off of it. So the way this guy's going to sit, this is where the T30s go. And by the way, these are stamped with ISIN on them because that's the OEM manufacturer to Toyota for this part. Then here's our door lock piece for the outside handle. And then this is our door release for the outside handle. And then we just got to get this guy back where he goes. And then here's our lock and release for the inside. All right, so we're ready to go. So let's put this guy back in now that we've transferred those three pieces. Let's take this light out for a moment. We're going to want to get the channel laying right through here. So we're going to lift it up again. Get all these little pieces to line up the way they want to line up. I want to make sure that our outside rod for the lock and the latch are facing up. And what's happening here is there's like these rails on the inside. All right, they're going to catch these two rods. You got to keep your hand back in here to kind of prevent that from happening. All right. Come on, got this rod stuck up in the corner. Let's see, I need a tool. I accidentally shoved that rod up into the corner and got him stuck. All right, there we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put this guy back in here. Put this guy right in there, just to kind of keep things held center. I guess I can't do it with one hand. I want to get those there's three rather, T30s restarted on the edge. That's the first thing that we're going to go off and do here. And then I think we'll be able to get everything manipulated around. So let me go on the other side and get those started by hand. All right, so I've just got these in part way. I don't have them tightened down yet because I'm going to show you there's another step we're going to have to do. So I want to get these rods connected to make sure everything's lining up properly. Let's see if I can get my little pry bar down here. There's one. This guy is wedged down here. Come on, get in there. There's 2. This is all back in. Now we're going to take this guy, going to feed him through here. And then, I don't know if you guys can see, but we're going to reconnect this right here. This is the power for the power door lock piece. So that snaps in. And then we're going to take this guy, put that in there, and then it comes with this new connector that's going to go right here. All right, so there's all that. Now we got to get the 2 rods connected back to our door handle from the latch. So that's just the reverse of what we did before. Let's see, I think you can probably see the one that we put in for the lock release easiest through here. All right, so let's get the camera position where you can see what I'm doing with this. All right, so now we're going to push this rod back into the door handle right there. Now hopefully I've got enough to do this with you guys seeing. There we go. And then I'm going to pull the little latch piece, the little yellow latch piece down. Let me get over here where I can see it. Don't block your view. All right, just like that. And now this guy's reattached. Now I don't think I'm going to be able to let you see the door lock one. I might come in on this side and just let you kind of line it up. Yeah, let me see if I can get the camera in from our cam, and you can see what I'm doing that way. All right, so there's the last one we got. This is the hardest one. So we got to get the lock rod back to where it attaches on the outer door handle. So you can see the little yellow retainer in this view, and you can see the rod. I've got the key sitting in the lock. Let's see if I can reach around and turn that while still holding this for you guys. All right, see how this is coming down? So I'm not going to be able to hold this because I only got 2 hands, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to hold that lock like that, and then I'm going to push that rod in. So we'll come back after I do that. All right, so we pushed the rod through, and now I'm just going to reach up, push the retainer down. All right, and we're all set. So that was the last thing. Everybody's latched and locked in at this point. Make sure that's in all the way. Yep, that's in all the way. All right, so at this point, we're ready to test it out. So we're going to kind of take this, let's get our flashlight out of here. We're going to put our deflector back around where it was when we took it off as best we can. Make sure that we know that we're going to need to put that little clip retainer right there. And then what we're going to be doing on the side is tightening up this screw for the channel, and then we'll be torquing these T30s. So I'll come back and I'll give you those torque values. All right, if we check the service manual for this section we're working on here for the front door components, we can see that our T30s are going to be 43 inch-pounds of torque, and we can see that on our door lock, or excuse me, our outside door handle is 49 inch-pounds of torque, right? But some things, like the lock cylinder, they don't give a torque value. On those, you're just going to do it nice and snug. Similarly, this channel that runs along the side, they don't give a torque value on that either. Now, maybe, it could be, we can see here that there's several screws that hold the regulator in, and they all have 66 inch-pounds. They say there's 6 of those. I might be able to say that maybe they're talking about that all of these are the same, and I'd be fine to just go with that torque value for anything like that. But you can see not everything in a Toyota is going to have a torque value. When we get ready to put everything back on the inside, we can see the screw on our bezel, handle bezel, the screws that we took off that are holding the door frame, the door trim panel, none of those have any torque values listed. The only thing that's really of note here is when we're putting these pieces back, and let me see what they have here. Yeah, there's a thing they make a point of here when you're putting the door lock, the latch assembly in. They make sure to let you know that they want you to use this adhesive to those 3 T30 screws. This adhesive is like a Loctite material. So we're going to be applying that before we do the final torque on those. They also mentioned applying multi-purpose grease to the sliding surface of the door lock. So if you don't have that on there already, that's something that you would want to do. All right, if we zoom in here, we can see we've got some blue thread locker on this per the service manual recommendation. I'm going to run this in by hand, and then we're going to torque it to the 43 inch-pound specified. I already did the other two. I did these one at a time. All right, so those 3 are done. Now we're going to go ahead and torque up this 10 here, this 10 nut that we loosened up here. And then we're going to check the torque on our 10s on the inside door handle and anywhere else that we touched. All right, we're just trying to get our butyl rubber sticking again where it needs to. We've put this plate back on, double checking that everything's done here. Excuse me, done here. We put our little clip back in here. And this guy is supposed to stick in like that. Now, before we go any further, we want to make sure this actually works, right? So what you can do is you can take a screwdriver or something and you can activate the latch. This is going to be the same as if it hits the striker. And if we take our inside door handle and we actuate it now very gently, because you can see it moving right here, yeah, that's how it's supposed to open. Very smoothly and very easily without any force. And if we do the same thing out there outside handle, all right, so that latch is working just fine. So we're going to go ahead and hang our outside panel, and we're going to reverse everything I already showed you. I'm not going to record that all over again. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we'll come back in at the end for any touch-ups. All right, guys, so even though we did that test on the inside with the latch, we're going to go ahead and make sure the outside works okay. So our outside door handle is latching and unlatching okay. No force required. Our inside, very easy. That's how you want it. 2 fingers, 1 finger. So this video is done. We got a good repair. That latch assembly from Toyota is the way to go versus anything that's counterfeit or fake or aftermarket. You can sometimes get a refurbished type Toyota one. I would still say pay the extra $30 or so for the genuine OEM part. It'll outlast the rest of the vehicle's life. If you got any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below and I'll try to help. If you found this video useful and got your vehicle repaired, go ahead and pay it forward and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.